Greetings, everyone. We're back with another video. Again, trying out this different format. So again, just let me know what you think, and if the feedback continues to be positive, as it was with the first video, then this will be something that we continue to implement. But let's jump right into it. So as everyone who has been watching the Olympics or even have a rudimentary familiarity with basketball, the U.S. basketball team got their tails kicked again, this time in their Olympic opener, to France, 83-76. And a lot of people are asking who, what, where, why, and how. And as I watch, a couple things have stood out to me pretty rapidly, as I've noticed. And I hear, you hear a lot of people talking about, tired from the season and this, that, and the fourth, and that's bologna sandwiches. When I look at one, I will say the talent gap is closing. So when they talked about that, that is true. But if you really look at it still overall, the United States has the most talent from top to bottom. But looking here, what I see is looking at the NCAA this is kind of that on an international scale. What do you mean? I am glad you asked. So when you look at like some of these mid-majors that have come up and become, I guess you could call them powers and relevant in making these deep runs in March and being more competitive, and in some cases beating some of the established powers, you say, well, why is that? How is that possible? What's going on? It's simple. So you look at your Kentuckys, your Kansases, your Dukes, and now in some of these power schools, they are getting the best talent. That's still happening. But what's happening is, as you know, the talent is not staying. They're one and done. It's to the point now, which just is the most idiotic thinking ever, that if somehow you stay, you're a blue chipper, or you stay in college for more than a year, there's something wrong. If you were so good, you'd go ahead and go to the NBA, which is completely asinine thinking. But that's another video for another day. So what happens is these big schools where their foundation was built on consistently adding talent, and then that talent would coalesce into great teams, in that you had tradition, and the older guys would show the younger guys, and it would keep rolling like that. You have to basically wipe the slate clean every year. So say and I'm just using them as an example, a Wichita State, a Richmond, and some of these schools that you see making these runs consistently now, what's going on is that they're there, they stay, they're ingratiated and become ingrained into the program, they build chemistry, they know what to do. So when they get to, say, playing a Kentucky, a North Carolina, a Kansas, a Duke, some of these other schools, their experience, their knowledge, their chemistry, their execution is what allows them to make up that talent deficiency that may be there. So bringing that back to the Olympic stage, and what we're seeing is that one is, for a lot of these other countries, playing for the nation across the front of their jersey is very meaningful. If you look back, if you look back at how Argentina was when they won that gold in 2004, how excited they was, you could see how much that meant to them. Not just because they knocked off the United States along the way to do it, but they won one for their country, and how they reacted. And for those of you who may not watch international basketball outside of Olympic competitions, things like FIBA, Eurobasket, any of those international competitions, the passion is on a whole nother level. There's a reason why you see a lot of even foreign guys in the NBA, they go back and they play every chance they get, because representing their country, it has a deep meaning for them. Like that's ingrained to them. So they're in their national program for years and years and years. I mean, even look at a guy like Luis Scola, who's 41, not only still playing, but still getting it done at a high level. You look at even the comments like when Luka Doncic said that winning a gold medal for Slovenia would mean more to him than an NBA title. I have no doubt that he meant that. And so there's something to be said that when you're playing, when the country on the front of your chest is everything, combined with that, then you can overcome that. The United States is the equivalent of Duke or North Carolina. They bring in top talent, and they put them together every couple years. You know, it's typically a completely different team, and so that's the same thing that Kentucky does. And while you have a on paper an outstanding collection of talent, because the turnover is so high, they don't necessarily coalesce into a team. They're not ingrained into that national system for years and years and years on end. And so what's happening is you've got a group of great players who are on the court and wear the same jersey, but they're not at teams of yet, which is why you see some of the execution snafus, some of the other issues, because it's like they're still trying to figure it out. Not only just the intricacies of the differences, I should say, not intricacies, the differences between the NBA and the international game, but just even trying to figure out what amongst the team, who's going to do what. And it's becoming starkly obvious that they still haven't figured that out yet. And while I think overall they've got the highest collection of talent, they're not a team by any stretch of the imagination from what I've seen. Some people are saying, well, they don't care and it doesn't mean that much. And I mean, if that's the case, then why even go? That seems to be a waste of time. And I will also, as I look and say this, because if you're going to go on that note, then the USA cycle has been kind of cyclical in a sense. You know, you had the Dream Team, then you had the 96 team, 2000, and, it was rolling over everyone. In 2004, there was kind of a lull where there was some apathy about going. I think there was this too cool for school that we could just roll a ball out there with a lot of these NBA players and just win. And, well, reality smacked them all upside the head with a powder-filled hand. And so they got embarrassed on the international stage. And so that's when they revamped things. People cared again, and you had the Redeem Team in 8, and that continued in 12. They rolled them in 16 as well. And, of course, even pandemic and injuries and whatnot aside, there seems to be, and you saw it with FIBA, with the last FIBA team. There was a lot of apathy, like, no one really wants to go, no one wants to play, and it showed up in what happened on the court. And it seems like some of that apathy, that too cool for school attitude is showing up with this team as well. Now, I tell you, they're playing Iran for their next game, and I don't know how much they're practicing or if they're practicing, but it sounds like there needs to be a conversation to where you figure out who's going to do what on this team. You understand you're all stars and obviously tremendous ball players. But it sounds old school to say, but everybody cannot be the star player all the time. Times, you may be the guy with your team in the league, but maybe on this team you're best suited to rebound or play defense and do other things. And it doesn't seem like they have figured that out yet. And if they don't, then they could be spectators in the Olympic Village watching the gold medal game instead of playing in it. So I you would still think with that talent and even that coaching staff that they would be able to figure this out, but it is looking as shaky from an Olympic standpoint with this club as any other time since 2004. So we'll see if they can, as old folks say, batten down the hatches and figure out what's going on here. So we'll see against Iran how they look, which I suspect they'll probably roll them, but you never know with this crew. So we'll see what happens. What do you think is the issue with this crop, this latest edition of the U.S. Senior Men's National Team? Let us know in the comment section. So be sure to head over to our website, sneakershoptalk.com. We don't just do sneakers. We also do sports, NBA, international basketball. It includes EuroLeague, NBL, of course NBA. And we'll be getting back to covering, of course, HBCU sports and the NFL. We're working on getting that squared away for the upcoming season. So definitely head over there. Check that out. Also check out the gear in our recently launched merchandise store. So I do appreciate everyone watching. We'll be back with more videos and news real soon. Peace.